Hello everyone, it's Captain Sensible here. So, well, apparently Mr. Smelly's releasing his own fragrance. Yeah, what a load of Anyway, he's asked me to do a quick introduction before he does his own attempt at a review, if you can call it that. And, yeah, the fragrance we're going to be talking about today is Gucci Pour On by Versace. This one was first released in 1982. The perfumer was Russ Abbott. And the notes on this one are bergamot, vetiver, sandalwood, and biscuit crumble. Now, I tried this one out the other night, and my wife doesn't watch this. I hope not anyway. And because I've been doing a bit of dating on the side, a bit of online dating, you know what I mean. And I went on a date with this bit of crumpet. This young lady, and we had a very nice time. She was a very nice, lovely girl. We went out for a few drinks. She was quite a prim and proper type of girl, and she said, "Look, I've had a really good night tonight, but I want you to know something. I have this rule: I never sleep with someone until I've known them for at least 6 weeks." So I said, "Oh, that's fair enough, no problem. Let's, I hope we can see each other again." She said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I called her on the telephone a few days later, and I said, "How's about another date then?" And she said, "Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I can do that. What are you doing this weekend?" I said, "Well, I'm a little bit busy." She said, "What about next week?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm a bit busy then too." She said, "Well, when can you do it?" I said, "How about in 6 weeks?"
Hello everyone, welcome back to all of you in the Smelly Army. So today we're going to be having a look at my current top 5 discontinued fragrances, or the ones I've got most recently basically that I'm most excited about. So we're going to get into that in a moment. Before we do that, my juice has arrived from a very illustrious perfumer who I'll be revealing soon. More details coming soon. I couldn't have asked for anything better than this. It is a stunning fragrance. It's a fougere style scent, and it says on there, Mr. Smelly's own private personal fougere. We have a better name for it than that though, so more details coming in a video soon. Let me know what you think about that. Let's get into today's video then, my top 5 discontinued rare fragrances. Okay guys, so let's get into it. So the first fragrance up today is Versace Green Jeans. This one was first released back in 1996. It is of course a flanker to the original blue jeans, which is still on our shelf today. This one long since discontinued. As you can see, rather an appealing tin design there. I quite like the artwork and everything on that. It's really quite different, isn't it, to your normal fragrance box, and the bottle also very attractive indeed. As the name would suggest then, this is a fairly green kind of fragrance, but it's also extremely heavy in citrus, which I love citrus, as you will well know if you are a follower of this channel. I enjoy citrus aromatic type fragrances. This is really a combination of citrus and greenness, so I guess an aromatic fougere fragrance, but with quite a nice added zip of citrus freshness. The notes actually on this one then, bergamot, grapefruit, cluster pine, whatever that is, mint, cedar leaves, oregano, sandalwood, American red pine, and oak moss. So it opens very, very brightly with really, really sparkling citrus. Reminds me a little bit actually of Dior's Eau Sauvage, or even of Xerjoff's Zafiro, which has a similarly green bottle. I wonder if it was influenced by this one. And then it does dry down to quite a mossy, piney kind of feel, which is a little bit old school in smell. So if you like the old school aromatic fougères, sort of straddles the divide between the 80s mossy fougères and perhaps the brighter, more citrusy, even aquatic world that was to follow in the 90s. So a really, really nice fragrance. Don't forget, if you'd like to join the Smelly Army private members club over on Patreon, there's a link in the description to do that. It costs just $2 a month and you get an extra video from me every week, plus you get to watch everything I've already uploaded in there. We're building a really nice community, lots of interaction, and I'd love to see you in there. By the way, performance decent but not amazing on Versace Green Jeans. Next up then, we have Sybaris by Antonio Puig, a 1988 release, and kind of considered one of the powerhouse type type fragrances to an extent that we talk about maybe in the same breath as things like Lapidus Pour Homme and Kouros, although for me a bit more delicate, refined, and actually rather more enjoyable arguably than either of those. So Rosendo Matteo and Alberto Morias, the legend himself, were the joint perfumers on this one. Notes lemon, orange, green notes, basil, cumin, aldehydes, jasmine. We have also cloves, geranium, oak moss, incense, vetiver, patchouli, and leather. Very fresh, but also very masculine. Does have that kind of 80s feel. Nice little advert for it there from the old days. And a really, really very, very well composed and attractive fragrance. I've got a splash bottle here. It's an eau de toilette, but it's in a rather small 30ml splash. But I've really enjoyed this one the times that I've tried it out so far. Really nice lemon and freshness in the opening. It's got that kind of herbaceous element as well. It's a chypre fragrance, so it has a combination of some freshness in the opening with a sort of green bitterness of oak moss as a key characteristic, and you very much get that. Good performance, but not amazing, not beast mode. If you can find that one for a good price, well worth trying. Next up, it's Valentino V, much talked about in the fragrance community. Much more recent one, this 2006 release. Notes apparently mandarin basil, pink pepper, cedar amber, sandalwood, jasmine, heliotrope, patchouli. Sweet and fruity and fresh and magical at the same time is how I would describe this one. It's often compared, of course, Valentino V, now sadly no longer available, charging high prices on that one online, are people. But if you get this one Darège from Versace, I can confirm they are almost identical, particularly after a few minutes. So only £21 or something for Darège 100ml. Valentino V, really expensive. I've actually got the aftershave, not the eau de toilette. It's an aftershave spray because it's so hard to find an eau de toilette without paying rather exorbitant prices. Really, really nice, sweet and fruity, and yet fresh at the same time. It's really hard to pick out an obvious note that is dominant here, but I certainly get sandalwood, this heliotrope thing, which is a kind of a sweetness. Has something to do with vanilla. It's a sexy, at the time, kind of a modern sort of smell. It's not an old school fougere or anything like that. I guess we would call this an oriental or oriental woody scent. Very, very pleasant indeed. Very different to your standard old school stuff that I've been talking about in some of the others in this video. Look out for it. Get Darège if you can't find Valentino V. Next up then, Salvador Dali. Salvador. 1992 release. Love the packaging on that. Salvador Dali, of course, a well-known surrealist artist, perhaps the most famous surrealist artist, passed away in 1989. Bit of a mad character, very unusual personality. And look at the bottle on this one. Absolutely beautiful bottle design, which is one of the main... Oh, there's Salvador Dali. One of the main reasons that I went for this one as a blind buy off of eBay. This is an eau de toilette splash, and the bottle design is stunning with the kind of lip thing that was one of Dali's paintings in the middle of the box there and the bottle. Notes on this one, then again, it's a fairly long note listing, but some of the important ones, there are some aldehydes in here. There's artemisia, carnation, cinnamon, rose, leather, tonka amber, patchouli, cedar, and vanilla. It's often compared to Safari by Ralph Lauren, the men's version of that from the same year, and similarly it is mossy, leathery, green, a little bit sweet and spicy at the same time. Something of a barbershop feel about this one. So if you're into barbershop fragrances, more of an old 80s vibe than to look forward to the 90s. This one looking back to the 80s. And yeah, very much if you are a fan of barbershop type fragrances with a slightly more rugged than average edge to this one, a little bit more rugged and masculine and maybe hairy chested, I would say maybe even a touch of the animalic in this one, the dirtiness that some people like in an old school fragrance. And Salvador, well worth checking out. When I posted on Instagram the other day, many people were sharing fond memories of wearing this one back in the 1990s. So a great fougere, very good performance on that one. Watch out, that's rather strong and potent. And you will have a hard time tracking it down, but if you do, it might not be exorbitantly priced because it's not a really, really sought after or hyped one. Next then, we're on to our fifth one already. It's Gucci Pour Homme from 1976. Again, I've just got the aftershave splash here, which I was lucky enough to find in a charity shop. You will have a hard time finding an eau de toilette spray, and it will probably be very highly priced if you do. This is a great fragrance. The one that came before, of course, there's a Gucci Pour Homme that was released in the 2000s that's also discontinued and quite highly sought after, highly priced. This one less talked about I think I actually prefer it though. Again, it's a chypre fragrance. Guy Robert was the perfumer. Some of the important notes in this one are lavender, bergamot, basil, carnation, iris, oak moss. It's kind of leathery as well. It opens up again with really nice. I was very surprised how well this bottle has held up, because those top notes, the bergamot and lemon that I get in the top, are really, really refreshing and beautiful. There's a bit of a herbal green kind of thing as well. Basil is one of the herbs mentioned there. Iris is in there. Oh, I didn't pick up on that. No, it's complex though. It's one of these old school fragrances with a long note listing and a lot going on. Very masculine, but actually not really a hairy chested powerhouse to me. Much more in that kind of chypre category rather than the heavy fougere type of stuff. Very fresh, very enjoyable, well worth seeking out. So that brings us to the end. I'm lining them up here. Let me know if you've tried any of these, which one's your favourite. Remember to check out the Smelly Army private members club, where I've been doing some videos about my favourites from Chanel, from the house of Dior, from Guerlain. I've been doing a kind of roundup of all my favourites from particular houses, Givenchy as well. So check that out in the link in the description if you'd like to sign up. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Bye bye.